Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our presentation of the Nectari Sage Enterprise Intelligence Reporting Tool. It is 12:01. We're just giving our folks a couple of minutes to log in, and we will be starting the presentation at 12:05. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. The presentation for the Nectari Sage Enterprise Intelligence Reporting Suite will commence in 2 minutes. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome and thank you for joining us in our second presentation from our Lunch and Learn webinar series. Today, we will be talking about the Nectari Advanced Reporting Solution called Sage Enterprise Intelligence that you may all have heard of. It is a supercharged version of the built-in reporting capabilities within the Sage 300 platform, and it is web-driven. We are very fortunate to have the team from Nectari joining us today, Pota and Nima, who are going to take us through a little presentation of the tool itself and a little introduction about what it's all about and what you can expect. Today's presentation is going to be in English, but this is a multilingual French, of course, tool as well. And should anyone have any interest in what we're seeing today, feel free to reach out and we'd be more than happy to have a one-on-one meeting with you, and we will bring French tools to the presentation so we can have a discussion and see whether or not this is a good solution for your team. With that, I present to you Pota, who will give us a little introduction to the solution before Nima jumps into the demo.
Thank you. Thank you, Rainer. All right, so on our agenda for today, we're going to cover a little bit about who we are, a brief introduction, which Rainer already did a great job at that, and a solution overview. We're going to look at how we can help you, some of the challenges that you might be facing, and how we can help automate your business insights. And then we're going to get a quick demo from Nima. and the top reasons why Sage 300 customers choose SEI. All right, a little bit about, oops, sorry about that. So, myself, I am Pota Canaveros, and I'm going to be joined by Nima, who's our Director of Business Development. All right, so what is Sage Enterprise Intelligence? It's a comprehensive, intuitive, and scalable business intelligence and data management solution. So it's scalable in the sense that it will grow as your business grows. And our mission at Nectari, who Nectari is the author of Sage Enterprise Intelligence, it's to empower users to get the answers that their business needs. And we're going to be going through the different ways that we can help you achieve this. All right, so we are the BI solution of choice for Sage Systems. We've been in business in ERP and BI for over 30 years with over 2,900 customers. SCI or Nectari is available in more than 12 Sage product lines, and we're sold in over 60 countries. All right, how we can help you. Now, if you're facing any of these challenges, well, you're in the right place. And this isn't a comprehensive list of challenges. You may be facing more challenges, but this is just the most common challenges that customers come to us with. So the first one is that manual reporting is error prone. It's also inefficient. It can be taking up a lot of your time. So anytime a customer or you might need to refresh a report, you might have to go back and manually export data in order to have the most up-to-date information. What you might be doing afterwards is applying different formulas to that data. You might then share a copy with a colleague. The colleague might then save their own version or copy and paste information. So there's a bunch of manual steps that could be happening, and this is just creating more opportunities for error. The second most common challenge that we see is that business users are not self-sufficient. So we often see business users creating multiple requests with IT anytime that they need a report. The multiple requests might happen because with the first request, well, they may have forgotten a few fields to include. And another thing that we see with the IT department is they're spending a lot of their time building reports. And, this is probably not the best use of your IT department's time. The third challenge that we see is that siloed data is difficult to consolidate. So having data in different silos will make it difficult for you to get an overall view of your business, especially if these different systems are not communicating with each other. And another thing to consider, another drawback of having these silos, is that each individual user, in order to gain insights from the system, has to get training on the system, and they'll also need their own access to the system, which might mean more licenses. And then the fourth challenge that we see is that data is not being secured properly. It could be very challenging to limit the type of information that's shared by each user. And we often see that unauthorized users can get access to shared reports. So if your reporting is not centralized and there's a lot of manual copy paste and resaving different types of documents, the business has to take the time to add extra security restrictions. It could be to each report, to each individual report, to each data set. And this just adds more to the type of management that you have to do with reporting. So all of these challenges can lead to potentially losing time, well, definitely losing time, losing money, maybe missing some opportunities and, not being, losing a competitive edge, erroneous information, and poor metrics. Now, what Sage Enterprise Intelligence is able to offer to Sage 300 users is a comprehensive BI and data management solution. Where you might see other solutions that offer just one piece of the puzzle, what Sage Enterprise Intelligence can bring is analytics and reporting on the web or using our Excel add-in or an Excel-like interface within the application, which is called the workbooks, and Nima is going to be showing us that later. So we're also able to offer dashboarding and data management. So just a quick high-level overview of all of that. I know this slide might be a lot to absorb, but typically when starting your journey with Sage Enterprise Intelligence, you'd want to manage your data and bring in any type of data source that you want to report on through our data warehousing tool, which is called DataSync. And you're able to bring in non your ERP data, that's for sure, and then non-ERP data as well. It can include things like CRM, payroll, and other types of data sources. And these sources can be on premise or in the cloud. Now, the second step after you've gathered all of the sources that you want to report on is that you want to make sense of the data that you've put into the data warehouse, and we have a lot of pre-configured reporting templates, and this is how we're integrating with the different Sage ERPs. You have pre-built reporting templates that are ready to use from the first day. What this means is the minute you log into Sage Enterprise Intelligence, you have reports that have been mapped out to your Sage 300 ERP, and you can go ahead and use them. If you want to create your own templates, you also have that flexibility. If you want to modify the existing templates, you can also do that. And you can do this all within your ERP, since Sage Enterprise Intelligence, or SEI, can be embedded within your ERP. Now, in the third step, we want to empower those business users and help make them more self-sufficient so that they don't rely so heavily on IT or take up their time. So SEI is very, very flexible. It's easy for a business user or someone that's less technical to use. There's no long form to complete before seeing what the final report looks like. Nima is going to show you how easily you can drag and drop dimensions and watch the results, watch the worksheet update on the spot. And then finally, you'll want these users to be able to collaborate securely with their colleagues or with other stakeholders internally or externally. And we have a suite of collaboration tools that can do this, where you can schedule your reports and they can go out on a recurring basis. This also helps avoid a lot of like manual work if you're sending out a report on a monthly basis. You know, someone doesn't have to go in and send this monthly. You just set it up once and it sends out every month or every week or whatever whatever is needed for you. Um, the last thing to mention, which isn't on this slide, is when collaborating or when sharing or accessing any type of report, we ensure that the users can only see what they've been given access to. So our security is centralized, and that means that it's set up once, and it's done by the data model. So any user that shouldn't have access to data will not get access to data. That is for sure. Just to go over quickly, one of the newer features, and I did mention workbooks, and this is our ad hoc online reporting tool. So we have the Excel add-in, but we also have workbooks. And in terms of the environment, it's your familiar Excel environment. The only thing that's different is you're going to see we have an analysis tab, and that's where you can get access to all of the wizards that will help you build your report from scratch. And for workbooks, there's no Excel licenses needed. This is all accessible within Sage Enterprise Intelligence, and it's something that's very unique in the market. I don't think I've seen anything like it somewhere else. And now it's time for our live demo with Nima. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen here.
All right, thanks, Poda. I'm gonna try to share my screen. Just let me know once you can see it.
Yep, we can see your screen.
Perfect. And I wanna not really close the meeting, but I do wanna hide this guy. So let's put this over there. All right, perfect. Thank you, Poda. So I'll get started with the product demonstration. So really nice being here today and excited to show you what Sage Enterprise Intelligence can do for Sage 300. Before we begin, I just want to mention that I'm going to log in as the admin user, meaning I'll have all the features and capabilities available. As Poda mentioned, based on your role within the organization, you will have certain capabilities, access to certain reports, limited or authorized based on what you do on a day-to-day basis. Also, very important to mention, it is a multi-language solution sold globally and available in English and French, because in Canada, that's what we primarily use. So right away when you log in, Sage Enterprise Intelligence, you're going to see a very simple screen where on the left-hand side, we have something called the Command Center. Not really too intimidating, I hope, but ultimately the Command Center is where all your out-of-the-box data models, reports, dashboards, and workbooks and so on all reside. So when you first log in, you'll see that it's integrated with Sage 300. So we have a vast set of folders and data models per category where you can have reports from day one, which is the huge most important added value benefit of SEI. So for example, if you go under finance, you'll see things like account summary, budget, detailed transactions, and budget entry. You go under sales analysis, you get your sales history. You go under purchasing, you get your POs and your project job costing. So really depending on what data you want, inventory, and so on and so forth, all of that is really integrated. Before I dive into more, I do want to mention that we also integrated with other third-party solutions that connect to Sage 300, for example, Service Manager and also AutoSimply. So if you have Service Manager, AutoSimply, it's also good to know there's integration and out-of-the-box reports for those. And we also have some universal data models, which I'll get to in a moment. So first things first, we're going to pull up what end user experience is going to look like. I'm going to go to my finance folder, pick my detailed transactions, and really open up my first report. And before I do that, I'm going to actually minimize the left-hand side of the screen just by clicking this in order to maximize the area for my analysis. Later, you're going to see some dashboards. So the more the space, the better for your data entry and analysis, I should say. Um, Basically, the concept is very, very much simple. You have your groups, your pivots, and your columns. This is a very familiar look for those who work with Excel pivot tables, but also made easier based on the fact that we use SEI advanced technologies. So for example, if I am to go here and drill down to the year 2020, as that's my fiscal year in my database, I will see the GL account numbers that are in my Sage 300 database. I will also see that I have my currency amount, source currency amount, and my journal transaction amount. So if you have any USD transactions, it could have been in a different source, it could have been in a USD dollar, but then you have a Canadian legislation and a Canadian journal, so it could be in this column. All the while, you can look at both and you can see all your different account codes. Now, I know one of the big things in the Sage 300 space is what about my segments? I've set up all these segmentations of my accounts and all that. Well, you can actually bring those in as well. So if I were to just expand the menu on the right, you'll see a neat little button that has it explains a lot more exactly how you can customize this report. It's called Dimensions and Measures. When I go under Dimensions and Measures, I'll see everything that is coming from Sage 300 that we've connected to in your database, and we could pull in to the results. So for example, very popular are the segments. Now, we don't know what the segments are called in your organization, but we do connect to them default from day one. All you would have to do is rename them. So for example, in our case, I believe segment 3 would be by territory. If I'm dragging and dropping it, we could see, okay, I have northern, southern, eastern, and western data. Let's say we just want to check out the northern section. We'll filter through that. And look how easy it is to actually filter, because whatever I see on the screen, I can select it and I can click add to filter, filter by the selection and remove any other filter, or I can do exclude from filter in case I'm trying to exclude a certain segment or region, or let's say we're comparing retail to commercial. Maybe we want to just do an analysis on the commercial side, and we can exclude the retail simply by clicking on it and saying exclude from filter. This is where the end user really is autonomous and able to build their reports simply by seeing the data, adding the filters, having different tags of filters here, and being able to remove any aspect of a filter at any given point without breaking the entire report is really making people independent and very confident in what they want to achieve. All the while, it is secure, and you don't have access to the wrong data. So let's say, for example, we just look at commercial data for the northern section, and I will remove now the grouping because I don't need those anymore. And I'll say I have some data in 2020, and I'll see where the transactions took place in these three accounts, and I could see the amounts. If I want to drill down further, I'll even see in which months these transactions took place, so which fiscal period, period 1, 2, 5, 7. If you're wondering why there's a 15, well, that's actually pretty simple. SCI also helps simulate year-end balances in case you've started your following year and you do need a simulation for your year-end. It allows you to start your following year until you finalize your books. So that is the option here. So you could have put some transactions there. Now, if I just quickly remove all the filters, go back to 2020, and let's say we want to compare. I have multiple Sage 300 databases. That is a common thing in the market, where you don't install just one instance of Sage 300, but you have multiple stores, multiple sites, and you do multi-installation. Well, SEI solves that as well. In any of the aforementioned data models and reports that I showed at the beginning, you always have a field called the company code. The company code, when I drag it in, let's say we want to pivot by company code, it will tell me, look, you have actually two Sage 300 databases connected because your organization is set up that way. You have your SAM Inc. and you have your SAM Ltd. And actually, when you drill down to 2020, you're going to see transactions that only fall under SAM Inc. and SAM Ltd. And in my case, one is in USD and one is in Canadian. So sometimes there's some differences, but overall the numbers are very similar because we had to take an example. But ultimately, just to show you, there is no sales of chairs in my SAM Ltd transactions, for example. So just to give you an idea, this is consolidation through all your Sage 300 databases. You also have this neat little button here at the top right. So at any point, any report, any dashboard, any workbook, you can say, oh, no, I just want to see the SAM Inc. data. And this is like a filter, but because it's about your company level reporting, we also have it at the top of the screen as well. So you can see only SAM Inc. data, and I don't have any transactions beyond 2020. So that kind of simplifies your reporting. Now you can have this report filtered by default and say detailed transaction of company A, company B, all that can be set up. So now for the next step, we're going to go ahead and open up the universal data model, actually, because this is where I think a lot of, again, I'm keeping it a finance example before I switch to a sales example. Under the universal data model, we've created an abundance of KPIs, advanced analytics, things that are very difficult to get out of your simple, simpler reporting tools that you currently have. So let's say, for example, for a balance sheet, we have these KPIs delivered already. So you have your ending balance versus your ending balance last year. Those are the two columns that I have. I'm also looking at a balance sheet report that I've customized, which you can too. When you get SEI, you can use the existing layout that you currently use, or you want to have a chance to change it or change the way the reporting is sorted, that's fine as well. So under assets, you'll obviously find current assets and fixed assets. And under liabilities, you're going to find current and long-term liabilities. If I drill down further, I'll be able to see all the accounts that fall under current assets. So very straightforward, very simple. And what about if I want to drag in some additional fields? Well, this is where the universal data model really takes off and gives you some power. If you look here under my measures, I have everything from anything to do with budgeting, anything to do with actual rolling 12, your last 12 months, despite your fiscal year. You might just want to know how you're doing in your last 12 months. You want to know your year to date last year, what is the variance percentage, and so on and so forth. You also have your ending balance variances as well, and in percentages as well. So if you know how to drag and drop, if you have the ability to just simply navigate and be self-sufficient in doing so. So we'll bring in the year to date. We'll bring in the year to date last year. And now we're going to see our 4 columns side by side. And we're also going to expand all the way down to the account level. So when you drill down here, you're actually expanding quite a lot of rows. And I can see here I'm seeing my fixed assets, my petty cash, and so on. Maybe visually we want to change the properties around. Very, very easily done as well. So you say, look, at my highest level, I want the background color to be a nice dark red, and then we'll go make it a blue for the next one, maybe a nice dark one. And now you can see the segmentation as you're going down in your report. Okay, so all of this can be easily shared, extracted, exported, collaboration, as we mentioned, annotated. If you do a send comment, if you want to, highlight a specific point here, send it to Poto by email, or Reiner wants to get a copy as well, we can do all that. You write the subject and the message, and you'll see that the annotations are also there. You can also download it as an image and attach it maybe to another file you're trying to share, a PDF, Excel from another system. So you can do both very easily. And as an example, we'll go back to sharing. We'll do an export, let's say in Excel. And on any device, whether you're on a tablet, whether you're on an iPhone, you're still capable to access this report on any mobile device, on a MacBook computer or on another browser. If you're using Chrome, if you're using Microsoft Edge, or so on and so forth, all of the above will work as well. I'll open up the report together and just give it a moment. Now, this is an export to Excel, so it's a static report. We also have an Excel add-in. The Excel add-in creates live formulas and live numbers in an Excel format. And then now the evolution of that is the workbooks. So we're just going to show you the workbooks today and this export to Excel, but just know that with the add-ins tab of SEI, you can also create live formulas in your Excel sheets if you prefer, but we're certain you're going to love the workbooks and just go start using that. So ultimately, we can see all the configuration we made here. We can see that the columns that we selected and even the groupings. So if I want to see a summarized level, if I want to see a detailed level, and I can share this, and it's really just up to me what to do with it. And if you're more comfortable with it, you can also add more formulas here, just like that. One final thing, it's very easy to customize this look and feel of this report. I will make a simple example. If I right click on the year to date last year and I say, look, I want everything that is in negative value. So my condition for year to date last year, everything that is less than the amount 0, make it red. And also let's add a little icon so it's more visually uh, indicating. So I can see here everything that is negative value will be in red with the arrow pointing down. This could be really good when you're talking sales KPIs, manufacturing, something is below reorder level, and so on and so forth for POs and purchasing and so on. So just keep in mind you can customize this to the nth degree. And you can obviously look at this in any which way. So this is where really the power again takes off. You can customize this. So instead of looking at it in this grid format, we could change it to a bar graph. We could change it to a line graph. We can go back to maybe a pie chart, and a combination of them will give you data from all over your Sage and outside data sources to give you really a dashboard. You can even have maps if you want to pinpoint where in Canada your warehouses are, where your customers are, where your vendors are. You can use the Google Maps, or you can use the by province, which is our vector maps, or by state in the US. Miscellaneous ones, more KPI cards and so on. So really advanced things you can set up. But ultimately, look how easy it is to switch a report. So it knows what groups and columns you already had selected, and it tells you in your assets, these are your year to date and your year to date last year. Maybe I can even hide a couple of them, just compare year to date versus year to date last year. So data isn't looking perfect, but we can look at the assets, for example, and then drill down. And in here, we're going to see current assets versus fixed assets. So it keeps the entire logic that you have up here. Okay. Now we're going to actually go and see the evolution of that, which is really the dashboards. And if I go here to the universal data models, and maybe for this time, I'm going to use a sales dashboard example. So what are my customer performance based on my Sage 300 data? Maybe you have another data source like a CRM. You can add them all together and pull them all in. But look how nice this looks. You can clearly identify your top 10 customers and see their current versus last year, because this is not just a bar graph. This is a bar graph with bullets, which is the red line. the red line bullets are really great because you can do last year versus this year, or you can do actual versus budget, or actual sales versus forecasted sales. So in these cases, we have a lot of advanced graphics and they all serve their purpose, and it's very, very easy to customize anytime you want. Let's say, for example, I want to remove uh, sales per stat group. Maybe it's not for me, it's not really relevant to my analysis. I can remove this, drag this here. Again, it's all made very easy to use, and I can customize that and see how my report has changed. Again, we can see different KPIs on the screen, but what if I want to filter on a specific month? Let's say month 6. How do we do in June? Hopefully that's a calendar period, so it is June. And I could see, okay, Bargain Mart San Diego and Bargain Mart Oakland were the top sellers. Okay, in that case, I didn't have a budget specifically for that month, so there's no red line. And I could see the yearly forecast, and then when you filter on a month, well, we won't see a trend anymore. But if I was to clear this, you'll see we had a 12-month trend just to see where we spiked. Maybe we're a seasonal business, and that's how it affected our sales. I'll go one more further and just pull up a product performance. Now, this is going to have a lot more about products and how things are moving on an item related basis, but you can set this up any way you want. You could do a sales rep dashboard, you could do a financial dashboard, inventory dashboard, all the while having a 360 view of your organization thanks to the power of SEI for Sage 300. Now, this one, although the example is not quite ready, I thought it would be in this Sage 300 environment. We essentially use Google Maps and we could plot points. So it could be in Montreal and Ottawa, and the points could be colored based on if the deal is closed, won, lost, or if the customer has been active in the last 12 months, whatever criteria that you want. The color can be based off of that. Also, the size of the bubbles can be larger or smaller based on the criteria that you want. So you can have a very meaningful map with a ton of information, all the while combined with up here our KPIs or cards I mentioned. You want to have some high level information, and we can filter on different things. So I think I'm going to filter on Bill. We're going to see how Bill is doing. That's his numbers. He works with the products that he's selling is the answering machine. Bill is stuck in the 1980s apparently. So that's what's going on with Bill. But ultimately, you can also share and collaborate this. The important thing is that SEI you can subscribe and send these reports by email, automate them, standardize them, send it to 5 colleagues or just to yourself, and you can even combine the reports, a dashboard with a regular report, with a worksheet, with a graphic, and build a what is called a financial or sales or reporting pack is what we call them. This one is just a simple example. We have a finance CFO dashboard followed by a cash flow report, an income statement, and a balance sheet. So this is, let me make this a bit larger. Sorry about that. There you are. All right, so ultimately you can customize this to have your colors, your logo, you can have the filter showing or not, the page numbers, put the timestamp, however you wish. You can customize all 4 corners of the screen. In the middle is where the content is coming from SEI specifically, and you'll see a dashboard. This is great for executive levels to receive these type of emails, these reporting packs. Maybe your finance team quarterly needs it as well once the books are closed, or maybe your sales team needs it daily, or your inventory team needs it daily. So you can do anything you want. And here we're comparing October 2018, so it's looking at 2017 versus 2018, and I could see my total operating cash flow, beginning, ending balance, and I could go here and see my income statement. This one has a KPI conditional formatting for negative values to be in red, and you can see your posting this year versus last year and all your accounts as you want to see them. It's very, very easy to customize. We've already gone over that. And finally, ending with the balance sheet. So these reporting packs are huge benefits as well. Going back to one thing that Poda was mentioning, let me explain here. So the evolution of SEI started with a web interface and a Excel piece, Excel add-in, a Microsoft Excel. And over the years, we developed a mobile ability as well. So that became SEI web and mobile. So everything we've seen today so far available on your tablets and screens and mobile screens, excuse me. However, the Excel add-in was so popular and it remains to be so popular, and it on its own could be a full solution sold in the market. We were also just including that, and due to its popularity, it really was the feedback of our partners and our customers that, we will continue to use Excel. It's just the learning curve is so easy. Not that SCI is not, but it's especially easy when you've been on Excel all these years. So I'm pulling up now our new evolution over the last 12 to 18 months, which is an Excel tool, really one for one, working like Microsoft Excel. So if you know Excel, you're very comfortable here with the functions and all that, but built into the web screen. What does that mean? That means it's not using a Microsoft license. Anybody in IT would appreciate not having to give more Microsoft Office licenses and just having SCI users activate and use their report here. Sorry for the delay here. I am connected to the cloud, and I think there's a bit of a VPN delay. It'll load in a moment. Ultimately, you don't need a license for Microsoft. You can use it on your MacBooks and on your tablets, because that's a limitation. MacBooks don't support Excel add-ins. And finally, you have the benefit of having everything centralized right here. So instead of having Excel files being emailed left and right and losing the master copy, well, this is all done through the SCI security. And we offer a ton out of the box as well, I should mention. This is pretty new. So, based on your business needs, you can customize it and add any column you want. But this is a report that is dynamic. Looking at the information, you'll see it's a Nectari formula. It's an SCI formula, all thanks to this analysis tab. The analysis tab allows you to create formulas, which will filter on a specific account. Maybe I'm hiding one of my columns here. It seems so. Unhide. There you are. There's my info that I was looking for. All right, so it's saying account 4,000. It's a sales account. That's the description coming from Sage database, and I have 878 and 60 cents actual. So it'll tell you, what's your budgeted. Well, obviously the number doesn't look so great at that point. But if we continue down, we'll see all our different other revenue streams. We'll see our cost of goods sold, and this is what we call an advanced P&L because it has so many extra columns with the budgeting implemented and also the variances and variance percentage. There's a simpler version of it as well, and we can scroll down and we'll ultimately see how it's set up. The nice thing is that if I click on any of these values, let's say for example, cost of goods sold accessories in account 510, 5010, 110. This 1200, how do we get to 1299? Well, the analysis tab in SCI allows you to drill down to your Sage data. Instead of leaving the screen and going to your Sage 300 to look at it, you could simply click drill down, and on the right hand side, a nice little panel pops up. However you want, you can customize this panel, what information you want to see. But in our case, we have one transaction that took place in month 7, and it was for the journal entry reference was for our customer, Mr. Ronald Black. 1200 is the ID. Entry number 001 1299. If I'm to go maybe to another example, let me go to my sales. I can click here. It'll automatically update my drill down screen and say, look, for this 878, you actually have 2 transactions. And therefore, account GL400, it's for 2 customers, Bargain Mart Oakland and Ronald Black. And I could see the entry numbers are 13 and 14, and the values are adding up to 878.60, hence why you see this here. What's important to note is that in your actual organization, the data is going to be a lot more visually pleasing. You're going to see exactly what you're seeing day to day. The power of it is that you can drill down, you can see the information, you can create pivot tables, you can create data extractions, which lists accounts based on a certain filter. You say all my accounts with 4,000 are sales accounts, so put these in order and put the description next to it. So you can set it up in many different ways and have this Excel tool. All the while you have this very familiar ribbon at the top. So maybe I can just pull up an example. Let's say, for example, in column J, what we want to do is simply say, give me the variance divided by the actual. And it'll give me the value and it'll plot it for the rest of them as well. Maybe that's a ratio you want. I'm just giving an example. I can also then go to my functions and basically use all the Excel functions that I want. Again, all the while being in the web. all the while being able to export, print, share, distribute by email. That's actually the next releases should have that. And just basically have all your information and then save and collaborate with your colleagues. And again, for those who are existing customers or those who are looking to get SEI, we are actually quite connected to our customers where we have feedback forms on the right hand side. We can inform you of new features. There's videos, there's information that leads you to our what's new page, and it'll tell you and train you how to use it. So when you look at a solution in the market, you want to be able to easily learn it, stay up to date, be autonomous, have a very powerful scalable solution, and SEI is all of that and more. So just giving you an example, one of the things we often get asked on these webinars in the chat, and don't forget, please ask your questions. We're here for that. We often get asked, well, what is delivered out of the box? I would like to get a bit more information because we can't cover it all in 60 minutes. So there's two websites that I'd like to share with you. We'll try to put it in the chat. If not, you're seeing it on the screen. udm.sageenterpriseintelligence.com is the first website. This is integrated. It's the out-of-the-box reporting that's universally made. And if you click, for example, finance, you'll see that it's integrated for Sage 300 customers, Sage 100 customers, 200 UK, and the most important for today's call is the Sage 300 customers. So what you'll get with this universal data model for free out of the box, plugged in with SEI, you'll get a budgeting module. So you're actually going to be able to do some, basic budgeting through SEI. So this has been sometimes a very surprising feature because we allow data entry in our worksheet grids. It's possible to set it up that way. We've created a template just for budgeting. So what is last year's posting plus a percentage increase? That could be your starting point. You could start at 0 for your budget. Last year posting average and increase, and so on and so forth. So that's budgeting and forecasting. Basics are also included if you don't use Sage to do it. You can do it there. And then we go into the dashboards. What is the CFO dashboard? What does it include? Who's the audience? What can you filter by? And remember, your data is going to be showing here, not these values here. So plug and play for that as well. Cash management dashboards, P&L dashboards, financial performance, and advanced ratios. Same thing for sales, by the way. Actual versus budget, one of the most popularly used dashboards, and AR and AP. So important to keep track of our AR, right? We all have to, in this day and age, be very on top of that and so on. And even your cash forecast, cash management forecast. So that could be really interesting. Let me go a little bit further. We have some other reporting that we've now replicated with the workbooks. And finally, we have a list of KPIs. If you need a cash to cash cycle analysis, we have that out of the box. It's a drag and drop. Inventory turnover, it tells you it's your sales divided by your average inventory, and it gives you your inventory turnover. So be sure to visit this website for sales, the CRM component, or finance. And we also have online help.sageenterpriseintelligence.com. In this page, you just have to go to templates. That's where you want to select for Sage 300 specifically. Like Poda mentioned, we're integrated with 12 different products around the world with Sage. So when we go into Sage 300, we're just looking for the out of the box. What is coming out of the box? Am I going to be able to simplify day one my life? The answer is almost certainly yes. But if you want to see specifically what dashboards, reports, what workbooks are resulting in the installation of SEI. And you can see you have AP reports, historical AP reports, what's overdue balance in home currency, transaction currency. We have all these reports. You just simply double click and get the result from day one using SEI. Um, I think we want to leave some time. There's a few more slides. There's some exciting news for any customer using Sage Intelligence, the simpler tool that's delivered with Sage. Sometimes some Sage 300 customers are using that. So Poda is going to speak to that. I'm going to stay on the line for any questions, and let Poda share her screen again.
Thank you, Nima. Let me just switch over here. All right. So based on Nima's demo, you guys might already picking and choosing the features that you like most. I just wanted to go over some of the top features that we've identified Sage 300 customers choosing Sage Enterprise Intelligence, and this is in no particular order. So a huge benefit for Sage 300 customers is the ability to do and to facilitate multi-company consolidations. Like you saw in Nima's demo, we have the Excel add-in. So you guys can continue reporting in Excel and in Excel-like environment in workbooks. So the environment that you're most familiar in, that's where we meet you. Also, you can experience faster loading times, especially when it comes to larger data sets and especially when compared to Sage Intelligence. You have the ability to add optional fields and bring those into your reports. Customers also like all of the pre-built templates, and like Nima mentioned, you have pre-built templates in the workbooks, you have pre-built templates that have new views, dashboards, and this brings me to the point of we have templates also for the AutoSimply and the Service Manager add-ons. And then finally, there's a very easy way for anyone that's currently using Sage Intelligence reporting to convert and move over to Sage Enterprise Intelligence, which is really a more advanced reporting tool. And talking about that, I've included a link here to the video, and you're going to be receiving a copy of this presentation. So you can just click on the link and view the short video. And this video will walk you through the 4 easy steps of how the conversion of your current SEI reports can be done to Sage Enterprise Intelligence reports. And what you'll notice is that the outcome, the report, the SEI report will look exactly the same. So there's nothing will change, and it's a super easy way and super fast way to convert without having to rebuild all of these reports. And this can save you time and money. And again, you're able to maintain everything that you've built in Excel while leveraging all of the wonderful features that Nima showed us, all the wonderful features in Sage Enterprise Intelligence. Quickly, high-level overview of a success story of our customer, Mies Pro. And one of the key benefits that they identified for them was that they were able to quickly access their reports, which before they didn't have this access, and also make any type of modifications that they needed without having to rely on an analyst. And they also saved on having to hire an analyst to do all of these reportings. The link to this this customer success story can also be found here in the resources that we've included for you. And at the bottom are some of the resources that that Nima mentioned, including our e-learning. And like Nima mentioned, we like to keep our customers up to date. And anytime we have a new version, if it's a significant change, we also do provide free Delta training. So that's available for customers as well. And that brings us to our Q&A. So let's check to see here if we have any questions from you.
Okay. There's some comments, but no questions yet. How much is the licensing for SEI? I don't know if you want to take that or if you'd prefer if I answered that question.
I guess you can go ahead with that. I'm not hearing from sure. Nima, so.
Sure, I just unmuted myself. Rainer, it's better you take it in Canadian dollar. I just don't know how to. So yeah, thanks.
No problem at all, guys. It's the way they license is very similar to the SIR piece that comes included with One Report Manager. They have various license type for what you need to be doing, whether you're viewing, whether you're creating reports and sending and such. I would be more than happy to have an individual conversation with each and every one of you guys and give you the costing relative to what you want to do. It's a bit of an open-ended question asking how much the license costs because there are variations in the cost. Very reasonably priced, and I will certainly reach out to each one of you, sending a copy of the presentation today and seeing and opening up a dialogue with you to see if you want to have a call to discuss this further, answer any questions that you might have after watching the video again, and also obviously the pricing, depending on how many people you'd like to give access to this wonderful tool. All right. And from what I can tell, that's the only question that was posted at this point. Guys, very impressive presentation today. Thank you so much. I see you guys have added quite a lot of new tools and, of course, resources, which I find also tremendous, allowing our customers to be as self-sufficient as they wish to be. Obviously, if they need help from people like yourself or from Genatec, we're there to support you, but that you provide these tools for people to actually dig in on their own if they wish to is wonderful. Really nice job. Thank you everybody for attending today. As mentioned, we will be sending out a copy link for this presentation so you can review it again or pass it along to others that may have missed the presentation, along with a way to get back to us and give us some feedback. And of course, to schedule another one-on-one time to talk a little more specifically about what you guys want to see. So with that, I thank you all. Have a wonderful afternoon and enjoy this really crazy rainstorm we're going through. I don't know if everyone's seeing this, but it's
Oh, I'm
coming
seeing it.
down. Like I couldn't believe how much rain's coming down. So anyway, enjoy the day. Thank you everybody, and we will speak soon.
Thanks.
Thank you.